Sonam Wangchuk, as many people on social media have been talking about, is not a Sharjeel Imam, nor is he an Umar Khalid. He is far more clinical in his approach. Unlike rabble rousers who thrive on noise, Wangchuk is actually a strategist and a thinker. In fact, if you were to analyze social activism in India over the last couple of years, you will see that Sonam Wangchuk is somebody that has somehow, through his efforts, through his activism, through his innovation linked to his activism, has captured the mind of a certain section of society, not only in Ladakh, but also India and the rest of the world. Sonam Wangchuk's prominence went sky high after the movie in which Ahmed Khan played a character, Phunksuk Wangdu, which was loosely based on Sonam Wangchuk. And that is when his trajectory went really, really high. And people, not only in India, but around the world, started to sort, sort him and to try and understand what this man, his innovation, his ideas, his sustainability practices are all about. And that is what led him to winning several awards, including the Ramon Magsaysay Award. But having met him personally almost 5 years ago, I can tell you there is a lot more to Sonam Wangchuk than what appears to be what we see and what we know. Going back to his recent interview on ANI a few hours ago and his statement to certain sections of the media, Sonam Wangchuk is going to be playing the martyr because by his own accord, he believes that the Indian government will find a way to arrest him. And according to him, Sonam Wangchuk in jail is more dangerous to the Indian government than Sonam Wangchuk outside of jail. That precise statement of his to media a couple of hours ago is a reflection of the intent of Sonam Wangchuk. Sonam Wangchuk wants to be a martyr. Therefore, all the questions that will be asked about his money, his funding, why has it come from foreign sources, will all be used by him, by people supporting him, by strong members in his team to create a sympathetic communication in India and internationally as well. You will see in the next couple of hours and maybe the next 24 hours, 48 hours, and maybe the whole of this week, there will be a complete focus on the Indian government targeting a social activist like Sonam Wangchuk. So the foreign source of funding that, if you go by the document that has been come out and the reason why his FCRA license has been revoked, clearly states that the money, one aspect of that money came for sovereignty of a nation, to do study on sovereignty of a nation. Now, why would Sonam Wangchuk require that? He would require that because underneath his the exterior that he portrays, that of an innovator, that of a social activist, he is actually somebody that is scratching at the surface to create some form of a revolution within Ladakh and try and see whether he can spread it to other parts of India. Please look at his statements attacking the government. The whole idea is that I will take the Ahimsa route, try and portray the Ahimsa route. In fact, when you analyze what he said about Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, he was the gentleman who brought out the word Gen Z into his conversation. So, why the reference? The reference is not a mistake. The reference is an indicate of his mindset that that is exactly what he's going to do, that he's going to try and provoke the Gen Z, and that is what happened at Ladakh. It was the young youth, the Gen Z, that reacted to their frustration. Please understand, enemies of India, deep state in all its form, will always play at fault lines. And Ladakh does have fault lines which the people have raised with the Indian government, and the Indian government is looking at correcting certain of those fault lines. But using those fault lines is where frustration has been allowed to seep into the youngsters in Ladakh. The same frustration is what Sonam Wangchuk and the people that support him within India and outside of India will try to spread to the rest of India in the next couple of hours. You will see that he will try to create a martyr, and he will use the same funding that he had received to create this disturbance in society at this point of time. The people of Ladakh have been misled into believing that Sonam Wangchuk is fighting for their interests. The people of Ladakh know and should know that the only way their problems will be resolved is through a dialogue with the government. When you take the part of violence, it is walking the part of a deep state playbook. And that is exactly what we saw in Sri Lanka, we saw it in Bangladesh, and we saw it in Nepal very recently. Sonam Wangchuk wants to be arrested. He wants to trigger what would be considered to be a revolution, which certain members within the opposition, certain members of the deep state have been trying to do in India for the last several years. This is an opportunity that they will use, and I believe that the Indian government must deal with it tactfully and very assertively, because there is much more than what meets the eye. Sonam Wangchuk's not the first domino. The first domino has already moved out. So we've dealt with the first domino. That was a person who held a constitutional position. Sonam Wangchuk is one of the influential dominoes within the social activism space. We need to understand that. Sonam Wangchuk, please understand what has been told to the people of Ladakh. You have to talk to the people on the ground in Ladakh. They've been told that they are going to get statehood. They've been told that the government is going to come and take your land away in order for mining of rare minerals, earth minerals. They've been told that your place is going to see a large scale development, and the ecological sensitivity of Ladakh will get destroyed. They have been told, and they've been victims to the fact that they don't get the kind of jobs that they want. So these kind of stories have been told, and there is a very large level of frustration in the youth in Ladakh. Now that frustration could have only been resolved through dialogue. Their argument to that is, we've had these protests for over 5 times. This is the sixth time. We are not getting an answer from the government, and therefore they decided to turn the protests violent. The protest turning violence is a playbook of the deep state, and that's why I'm saying Sonam Wangchuk has to be dealt with tactfully, because he wants to be arrested. As soon as he gets arrested, that's when they'll trigger the next round of confusion within this country. They will use the universities, please understand that. They will use the universities to drive a force of confusion in the young adults in India, in the youth of India, by using Sonam Wangchuk. Sonam Wangchuk's popularity has been the reason why he got that prominence in Bollywood, and it could be somebody that has been kept long enough to be utilized to do just this. And right now is the moment. He will claim that he had nothing to do with the instigation. He will claim that the people of Ladakh genuinely have a problem. Rightfully so, they do. But violence is not the way to resort to solving it. So I believe there's a larger game in play, and this is just the first phase of the project Sonam Wangchuk has in mind, which is, like I said, diversion, deception, and division.